Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about something almost every learner struggles with at some point.
I think I know this one. It's learning a word today, feeling confident about it, and then completely forgetting it a week later.
Exactly that feeling. Today we're talking about vocabulary specifically and how to actually remember new English words, instead of forgetting them so quickly.
I think this is such a relatable topic, because vocabulary forgetting happens to literally everyone, no matter their level.
Right, and I think it's helpful to start by explaining why this forgetting happens in the first place.
Sure, there's actually a well-known concept called the forgetting curve. Basically, without any review, we naturally forget most new information within just a few days.
So it's not that you have a bad memory, it's just how memory naturally works, for everyone.
Exactly right. This is completely normal, and it happens with every single person, regardless of how smart or capable they are.
That's such a relieving thing to hear, honestly. So if forgetting is normal, what's the actual solution here?
The solution is reviewing information at the right times, before you fully forget it. This is called spaced repetition.
Can you explain spaced repetition a little more clearly?
Sure. Instead of reviewing a word once and never again, you review it a few times with increasing gaps between each review.
So maybe reviewing a word after 1 day, then after 3 days, then after a week, and so on.
Exactly right. Each review strengthens the memory, making it last longer before the next review is needed.
That makes so much sense. Are there tools that help with this specific technique?
Yes, actually. A lot of flashcard apps use spaced repetition automatically, showing you words right before you're likely to forget them.
So technology can actually handle the timing for you, without needing to calculate it manually.
Exactly right. This makes spaced repetition much easier to use consistently, even without deep technical knowledge.
Let's talk about another important factor now, connecting new words to meaning, instead of just memorizing translations.
This is such an important point. A lot of learners memorize word pairs like an English word next to its translation without any deeper connection.
And that approach doesn't create very strong lasting memories, right?
Exactly right. Our brains remember meaningful connections much better than simple, isolated word pairs.
What would a stronger approach actually look like?
Connecting the word to an image, a personal experience, or an emotion, rather than just a translated word.
Can you give an example of what that might look like, practically?
Sure. Instead of just memorizing nervous next to its translation, imagine a specific moment when you actually felt nervous, and connect the word directly to that memory.
So the word becomes attached to something real and personal, instead of something abstract.
Exactly right. This creates a much stronger, more memorable connection in your brain.
Let's talk about learning words in context now, since I think this connects to something we discussed in a previous episode.
Definitely. Learning a word inside a full sentence or a real situation helps you remember not just the meaning but also how it's actually used.
Right, because a lot of words behave differently depending on the context around them.
Exactly. Learning run alone doesn't tell you much, but seeing it in different sentences shows you its many different meanings and uses.
That's such an important distinction. Let's talk about grouping words together now, instead of learning them randomly.
This connects to something we mentioned before too. Grouping related words together, like words about cooking or words about travel, helps memory significantly.
Why do you think grouping works so much better than random lists?
Because our brains naturally organize information into categories, grouped information fits more easily into existing mental structures.
So it's not just about the words themselves, it's about how they're organized in your mind.
Exactly right. Organized grouped vocabulary is simply easier for your brain to store and later retrieve compared to random unconnected words.
Let's talk about using new words actively now, instead of just recognizing them passively.
This is such a crucial point. There's a big difference between recognizing a word when you see it and actually being able to use it yourself in a sentence.
Can you explain that difference a little more?
Sure. Passive knowledge means you understand a word when someone else uses it. Active knowledge means you can actually produce and use that word yourself.
And I imagine active knowledge requires much deeper practice, compared to passive recognition alone.
Exactly right. To truly own a word, you need to actively use it in speaking or writing multiple times in different situations.
What's a good way to practice this active usage specifically?
Try creating your own original sentences, using new words, instead of just reading example sentences someone else already wrote.
So creating something personal, rather than just consuming existing examples.
Exactly right. This active creation process significantly strengthens memory compared to passive reading alone.
Let's talk about using new words in real conversations now, since this feels like the ultimate test of true learning.
Absolutely. Try deliberately using new words during real conversations, even if it feels a little forced or unnatural at first.
Does that forced practice actually help, even if it feels a bit awkward initially?
It really does. The awkwardness fades quickly, and using words in genuine conversation creates incredibly strong, lasting memories.
That's such encouraging practical advice. Let's talk about writing now, since that's another way to actively practice vocabulary.
Definitely. Writing short sentences or even a few lines in a journal using new words reinforces memory in a very similar way to speaking.
So both speaking and writing activate this deeper, more active type of memory.
Exactly right. The key factor is active production, whether through speaking or writing rather than passive review alone.
Let's talk about visual techniques now, since I know some learners respond really well to visual memory methods.
Sure, one popular technique is creating a mental image directly connected to a word's meaning, sometimes called visualization.
Can you give an example of how that might work?
Sure. For the word enormous, imagine something extremely large, vividly in your mind, like a giant mountain or a massive building.
So you're creating a strong, vivid visual connection, instead of just memorizing the definition alone.
Exactly right. Vivid imaginative connections are often remembered much more easily than plain abstract definitions.
Let's talk about a specific memory technique now called the memory palace or method of loci.
Sure, this is a really interesting technique. You imagine a familiar place like your home and mentally place new words in specific locations within that space.
Can you explain how that actually helps memory?
Our brains are naturally very good at remembering spatial locations. By connecting words to specific places, you're using this natural spatial memory strength.
That sounds like a more advanced technique, but potentially very powerful for certain learners.
Exactly right. It requires a little more initial effort, but many learners find it incredibly effective once they get comfortable with the technique.
Let's talk about reviewing mistakes now, specifically around vocabulary usage.
This is important too. Keep track of words you consistently mix up or forget, and give them extra focused attention specifically.
So not every word needs equal review, some words naturally need more repetition than others.
Exactly right. Focus your limited time and energy on words that specifically challenge you, rather than reviewing everything equally.
That's such an efficient, practical approach to vocabulary review. Let's talk about quality versus quantity now.
This connects really well to today's topic. A lot of learners try to memorize huge lists of words quickly, which often leads to shallow, temporary memory.
So learning fewer words but more deeply is actually more effective than learning many words superficially.
Exactly right. It's much better to truly master 20 words than to briefly recognize 100 words without any real depth.
That's such an important mindset shift, especially for learners who feel pressure to memorize huge amounts quickly.
Precisely. Depth of learning matters far more than sheer quantity when it comes to truly useful, lasting vocabulary.
Let's talk about emotional connection now, since I think this plays a bigger role than people usually realize.
Definitely. Words connected to strong emotions, whether positive or negative, tend to be remembered much more easily.
Can you give an example of how learners could use this specifically?
Sure. Learn vocabulary connected to topics you're genuinely passionate about, whether that's music, sports, cooking, or anything you truly enjoy.
So personal interest naturally creates stronger emotional and therefore stronger memory connections.
Exactly right. Vocabulary connected to genuine interest almost always sticks far better than vocabulary learned purely out of obligation.
Let's talk about consistency again, since I know it's a theme in almost every episode.
It really is, because consistent spaced review remains far more effective than occasional intense memorization sessions.
So even just reviewing a small number of words daily is better than cramming many words once a week.
Exactly right. Small, regular review sessions align perfectly with how memory naturally works, especially with spaced repetition.
Let's talk about a final technique now, teaching words to someone else.
Sure, this is such a powerful, often overlooked technique. Explaining a word's meaning to someone else forces you to truly understand it deeply yourself.
So teaching becomes a form of active, deep review, rather than passive review alone.
Exactly right. Even explaining a word to yourself out loud as if teaching someone can significantly strengthen memory.
That's such a creative, accessible technique that almost anyone can use, even without an actual student.
Exactly. The simple act of explaining something clearly in your own words deepens understanding significantly every single time.
All right, I think it's time to summarize everything we've discussed today for our listeners.
Great idea, let's go through the main points.
First, forgetting new words quickly is completely normal. It's simply how memory naturally works.
Second, use spaced repetition, reviewing words at increasing intervals instead of only once.
Third, connect new words to meaning, personal experience, or emotion instead of simple translations.
Fourth, learn words within full sentences and real context rather than as isolated single items.
Fifth, group related words together, since organized vocabulary is easier for your brain to store and retrieve.
Sixth, actively use new words yourself instead of only passively recognizing them.
Seventh, deliberately use new words in real conversations, even if it feels slightly forced initially.
Eighth, write short sentences or journal entries using new vocabulary regularly.
Ninth, use vivid visualization, connecting words to clear imaginative mental images.
10th, try the memory palace technique, connecting words to specific familiar locations.
11th, give extra attention specifically to words you consistently forget or mix up.
12th, prioritize depth over quantity, mastering fewer words thoroughly rather than many words superficially.
13th, connect vocabulary to genuine personal interests and emotions whenever possible.
14th, stay consistent with small regular review sessions instead of occasional intense cramming.
And finally, try teaching new words to someone else or even to yourself to deepen true understanding.
That's such a comprehensive practical summary. I really believe if listeners apply even a few of these techniques, their vocabulary retention will improve significantly.
I completely agree. Building lasting vocabulary really is possible with the right science-backed techniques, instead of just brute memorization alone.
Well said. All right, everyone, that's it for today's episode.
Thank you so much for listening and for practicing your English with us today.
If you found this episode helpful, try picking just one new word today and creating a personal sentence with it right now.
Great advice as always. Take care, everyone, and keep practicing consistently.
We'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.